podcast. We could have a Disney!
Hey everyone, we are back from our Halloween Disney trip, our first trip as annual pass holders. Got so much to show you, so much to tell you, so let's get started. Day one, travel day, and first day at Disney. It was an early start. My alarm went off at 2:45 in the morning. No snooze, I swear, there was no snooze. I was straight up, I was so excited. Me and Ben had a quick wash, got the boys peed, ready in the car, got our snacks for the journey, and we were in the car and ready to leave by 3:30. So we were already making good time. It took us about 3 hours to get to the Tesco at the tunnel in Folkstone. There we'll have another pee and we'll fill up the car as well, so that, you know, we don't have to do it when we're in France, because it is usually more expensive in Europe than it is here, even though the price at the minute, you know, is high anyway. Once we've done that, we headed to the tunnel, and when we got there, we actually ended up being asked if we wanted to go on an earlier train, which obviously we said yes. I mean, the quicker we can get to Disney, the better. And we had another quick pee before we finally got on the train. So the journey takes about 35 minutes. You're just on this really big train where, you know, it looks like you could fit a bus in. It's that high. And it has different sections, and normally next to it, there'll be another train for the lorries, which is all open, so you can actually see the lorries. So that didn't take long. Once we got into France, literally you just drive and you're straight on like a motorway. And we switched as well. So I did the drive to Folkstone and Ben does the drive in France because he's just that little bit more confident. And this is now the third time that we've done the drive. So you know, it's better that he does it than me because this is his third time. We'd found where the nearest Aldi was to our hotel, just to get some extra bits that we didn't want to risk taking on the train in case we weren't allowed, or in case it got damaged or spilt. Yeah, it was almost the same as our Aldi. It was clearly old. It looked a bit more like Lidl on the inside than Aldi. I managed to find everything that I wanted. They even had like a fresh bakery, you know, where you could get like fresh chocopans and things like that, which we don't get in our Aldis. But yeah, so once we'd done that, we headed for our hotel. Now, if you look on the map, our hotel is situated northeast of the park. So we eventually found it. Fortunately, they wouldn't check us in. They wouldn't even take our name, nothing. So we just had to freshen up and change in the toilets, which, you know, wasn't ideal, but we managed. So once we'd done that, I think we managed to get to the park about 2:30, 2:45. We had a bit of a palaver with the car park because with me having the Infinity Pass, we can get free parking, and obviously we're relying on our sat-nav as well. So when we put the parking in on the sat-nav, it actually took us to the Disneyland Hotel, but the lady there was really nice and she let us through that way. Yeah, and it was like past the cast member car park. That's how we came in to the main car park area. And then once we found it, there was two signs, one that just said P for parking and the other one said infinity parking. Followed the sign like all the way to the top, and then there was a barrier with this little keypad, but we didn't know how to get in, and we were going round and round and there was nobody there to sort of help us. But luckily the car park was not busy. I mean, it was like half empty. So we just parked the car and we said that when we're in the park, we'll ask how we get into the infinity area for parking. Unfortunately, it was raining It had rained on and off during the car journey through France, but by the time we got to Disney, it just, yeah, there was no sign of it stopping. Put our jackets on and yeah, we just had to persevere. It was nice walking from the car park to the park. I'd never done that before. It was nice seeing the sign and hearing the music and hearing like the announcements in all the languages as we were walking. And when we got to the end, we saw where the buses were because we knew we were going to do the bus this time, which we've never done before. So we saw where we get the bus. We saw the train station and the outside of Disney Village. So we came in from the side of like Annette's Diner. Then we had to go through bag check, which was fine. And then, yeah, obviously it was just a little bit overwhelming seeing the park. And, you know, just knowing that we were in Disney, it was just full of emotion. Obviously the boys were, you know, knew exactly where we were and they were all excited. Got our annual passes out and at first they wouldn't work and we were panicking because it was like, oh my God, is our reservations not worked? But yeah, a cast member helped us and it was fine. Straight away, if you've been to Disney this year and you walk in and you see the train station, for the 30th anniversary, they've got a big 30 that's got a spin round it. Well, they changed all that to orange for Halloween. So instead of it being blue, the ones with characters, they were orange. So the decorations were instant. As soon as you walked in, they were there. They were on lampposts, they were in the grass areas, around the gazebo. It was just great to see. And so the first thing we have to do now that we're in the park is get Jacob's priority pass, which you get at guest services. So as you walk onto Main Street, it's on your left. Your left, not my left. The priority pass is something that is really helpful to us as a family because it means that Jacob is able to enjoy the experience and is not stressed by the being in a different environment or having to wait. It is mainly for queuing that we use it for. I never really use it. In fact, I've never used it for the shops. And I think we can use it in the restaurants, but it was so busy that there was no queue for priority pass because it was just full of people. But definitely for the rides, it's a big help to us. But I'm going to do a video just on that and explain exactly everything that you can get and how to use it and where to go and what documents you need. Because there's not a lot of information out there, and unless somebody told you, you wouldn't know that you could get it. So after we got his priority card, we then headed over to Century, the Century shop, which is the one opposite the Emporium, because I wanted to get my photo pass, because with Infinity Annual Pass, I get a free photo pass. Now, normally you would get it from Ribbons and Bows, but that was shut for refurbishment. So Century shop, got a photo pass, and then Ben was dying for a coffee. So we popped in through the sweet side of the Century shop, and I used my annual pass for discount for the first time, and I got Ben a coffee and the boys a Mickey cookie, of course. Once we got that, we headed over to Frontierland. Now, we'd been asking Finlay like for weeks leading up to the trip, right? What's the first ride you want to go on? And he changed his mind every time. But he said Haunted Mansion. He calls it Haunted Mansion, even though it's Phantom Manor at Disneyland Paris. So we headed over there. Straight away, Jack Skellington was there for a meet and greet. Finlay is really into The Nightmare Before Christmas and watches it quite a lot. And, you know, Jack is one of his favourite characters. So it was fab that we could do that character meet straight away. And he couldn't believe that Jack was there. So we just had to wait 10 minutes. And we got in and met him and, well...
You're doing now. Have a step this way.
Come on.
Huh?
La foto. ¿Estás queriendo encarar?
Come on, don't be afraid. Spooky, don't worry. I work very hard at it, you know. What's your name, my dear? What's a terrible name you have? How about yours?
It's Jacob.
About this? Terrible as well. What do you know about my name? Of course. I'm from Calais town. Tell me, do you have any spooky plans for Christmas? Halloween? No? Nothing? You? Any spooky plans? Maybe you should just scare some people. I'll take care of it, okay? I'll give it back. Come on. Perfect.
Yeah? So it was a great meet and greet with Jack. And then it was time to head over to do our first ride. We noticed when we were walking up that the people that were in the main queue were starting to leave. And when we got to the door, they'd had to close the ride. So obviously I asked Finn, right, what ride are we going on now? And he said Pirates. So yeah, it is one of our favourite rides. When we went in March, we did it every single day we were there. So we did it 6 times. So yeah, so we walked through Frontierland and oh my God, local decorations were amazing. I don't know if Disneyland Paris has done that sort of decor before at Halloween, because I've never done Halloween before at Disney. But it was amazing. They were everywhere. All these like statues of couples, and you know, even like the flowers were everywhere. The colours of the film was everywhere, and they were all up on these big arch garlands. Honestly, I was so impressed. They even had a giant Diego as a spirit animal with all the bunting, the cocoa bunting around him. Outside one of the restaurants, which was just opposite Thunder Mountain. Oh, it was fab. So that was nice walking through all that. And yeah, so headed straight to Pirates. And oh, it is one of our favourite rides. And so yeah, so our first ride, what ended up being Pirates of the Caribbean. So once we came off of that, because of where we were and because we wanted to give Phantom Manor a little bit more time, we just headed over to Peter Pan because it's technically next door. It's not one of my favourites, but Finlay loves it and we're sort of keeping in with the theme, you know. So we did that ride and then again, didn't have to wait long. So yeah, so we did that, which didn't take long because... if you've been on the ride before, you'll know that it is one of the shortest rides in the park. Despite it having always one of the longest queues to get on the ride. But anyway, so we then decided to try again with Phantom Manor. And thank God it was open. Because that was the original ride that we were going to go on. Finlay kept saying that, you know, he was a bit scared. But it's one of those rides where he forgets how fun it is and how much he enjoys it. And I think, like, when you're doing the first part where you're in the room and, you know, obviously it's moving and the wallpaper's moving in the pictures, it's getting you all, you know, a bit like, oh, what's going to happen sort of thing. And, you know, he is only 5 and... yeah, having to remind him, no, remember, it's the dancing ghosts. This is a fun ride. But yeah, once he was on it, he was fine. After we came off Phantom Manor, we weren't quite sure what ride to do because it was still raining. But when we were walking out of Frontierland, we noticed that the crowds were getting ready for a parade. Now, we had missed the Halloween one, but it was time for the Stars on Parade. Now, we had seen it before, but not from a really good spot. We've never really had a good view of the parade. So this time we decided, because there was just the four of us, that we would use Jacob's priority card and experience the parade for the first time with a clear view, with nobody in our way and with plenty of room. Ben wasn't allowed to join us because Jacob was only allowed to bring 2 people with them in that area. So I went in with Jacob and Ben took Finn and had him on his shoulders and went somewhere else. And but I like the parade. I'm not keen on the song. I think it's the song that is probably why it's not one of my favourites. But I love all the stories that they've chosen to include in that particular parade. So, you know, you've got Finding Nemo and you've got Toy Story, and then, you know, you've got Frozen at the end. And the dragon, you know, is amazing. I actually saw Prince Philip fighting the dragon this time, because the other 2 times I've seen it, I've been so far back that I've only seen like the very top of the parade, and I've never actually seen the dancers or the other characters that are not on the actual parade floats that they're walking around alongside the floats. I've never seen them, and this time we were able to see it all properly. Luckily, the rain didn't put off any of the effects. You know, we got the fire and we got the snow at the end. So yeah, and obviously when Jacob saw Anna and Elsa, you know, and they had umbrellas because of the rain, which was funny. But yeah, he enjoyed it. And like I say, nobody was in front of us. And where we were, there was like a little wall and he was able to stand on that. So he got a really good view of the parade. So the parade finished and our bellies started to rumble. I mean, I think it was after 6 at this point. So we headed over to Hyperion because it's big. And we thought we'll definitely get a seat, get away from the rain. But we did have to queue for a really long time. I think I was in that queue for about 20-25 minutes. There's a lot of large families in front of us, you know, and some of them hadn't really decided what they wanted to eat until they got to the till. But no, we got the food, settled down, and burger was so fine. It was just exactly what I needed. Because, which I should have mentioned at the start of the video, I was suffering with a really bad cold. By the time we'd gotten the food, I was really struggling. I didn't have the energy. The rain was getting to me. And I was so tired because of, you know, we'd been up since 2:45 in that morning. I was ready to go back to the hotel. So once we'd finished, the boys had seen a couple of the cartoons playing. We'd gone to pee, and then we hit Buzz Blasters. We thought, right, let's just get one more ride in before we leave. So we went into Buzz Blasters and had a quick shooting in that. And then, made our way back to the car. The journey from the park to the hotel was literally 5 minutes, you know, maybe 6. It wasn't long at all. The check-in was so easy, and we just had to pay the city tax, which was €15 for the 5 days. Yeah, and we got a great little room with bunk beds. And the boys have never been in bunk beds, so they were happy as Larry. They were loving it. It was a whole game deciding who was going to be in the top bunk. And I was just glad to get my feet up and get into my pajamas. And yeah, So yeah, it was a great first day. We had checked the weather. The following day was looking promising and warm. So yeah, we just went to bed ready for another day at Disney. I just want to say thank you for watching. I know normally it would be vlogged, but because we were sharing the drive, because I had a cold, I wasn't prepared to vlog from the minute I got up. And I decided I was going to do it when we got to Disney. But then when we got there and it was raining, I just focused on taking videos of everything that we were doing, but just without me narrating it. I decided that instead I would come back and do it like this. I do want to do vlogs, you know, video from when we're there right through, like other Disney influencers or vloggers. I think I made a couple of excuses not to do it. You know, it was a bit, I am a bit nervous doing it. I've never done it before. So hopefully this way will be fine for just now. And the next time I'll feel a bit more confident and I'll be a bit more prepared and hopefully not have a cold, where I'll vlog, you know, from the start of our holiday right through, you know, proper handheld device with my phone. And yeah, thank you for watching what I've done so far, and please like and share and subscribe. There is more to come. 4 more days at Disney, 4 more days of our pass holder adventures, 4 more days of Disney fun. So have a magical day.